Welcome back, everyone. We've got to talk about this Tony Allen and LeBron James situation because Tony Allen recently appeared on Nightcap and explained why he made those comments about LeBron, especially regarding the 2013 Defensive Player of the Year race. Back in 2013, Tony Allen actually received the most votes among the guards for the NBA All-Defensive First Team. LeBron James was also selected to the first team, while Marc Gasol ended up on the All-Defensive Second Team. Despite that, Marc Gasol still walked away with the Defensive Player of the Year award, which has always been a little confusing when you look back at it. You would normally expect the Defensive Player of the Year to also be on the All-Defensive First Team. If LeBron wasn't going to win the award, then you could certainly make the case that Tony Allen had a strong argument as well. That's not to take anything away from Marc Gasol. He was an outstanding defender, but it's still unusual that the award went to someone who wasn't even voted onto the first team. There was already another center ahead of him on that first team, which is why the outcome has continued to raise questions over the years. Looking back at those all-defensive selections, the first team included Joakim Noah, Tyson Chandler, Serge Ibaka, Chris Paul, and Tony Allen, alongside LeBron James, under the league's positionless voting format at the time. The second team featured Avery Bradley, Mike Conley Jr., Paul George, Tim Duncan, and Marc Gasol. Another issue Tony Allen brought up was LeBron's past comments about Memphis, including what he said about the hotels in the city during those playoff battles. But before we get into all of that, let's first take a look at exactly what Tony Allen had to say about that Defensive Player of the Year race.
The voting scale is a little weird to me sometimes. I mean, if you take 2012, if you just stick with me here, 2012, 2013, I had a chance to be Defensive Player of the Year and also MVP in the same season. And that year, Marc Gasol was rewarded Defensive Player of the Year. But he made second team all defense. Okay, so that doesn't make sense. It's like being an MVP of the league, but you make second team all NBA. That's when I really started to look at things a little bit kind of like differently. I was like, how does that even make any sense? It's like being rookie of the year, but you make second team all rookie.
We can talk over it, with some wine if you want to. I don't, if anybody's trophy, I mean, I believe that trophy is for the Grizzlies. Or that 2000, I think it was 13. I think the team that deserved to have that trophy was the Grizzlies. For some reason, they picked me. If anybody could, claim that trophy was Tony Allen, and to my point of view. At the same time, I could also, not that I want to or care about, but I could say that, hey, I've been told from a first team All NBA defensively. I believe I should be there, but I don't, and I don't care. But we can have a good laugh about it if he wants to. If not, let's, I'm sure he can go get it this year too if he wants.
Ask me, do I want to comment on this list? I'm saying, yeah, I comment on the list. They say, well, you might not be happy because where you ranked. So they go through the list, and I'm going through the list. And as you could tell, I was giving people props, like Brian Artest, like, yo, he should be way higher. I'm like, Dennis Rodman, yeah, he should be number one. Or like Gary Payton, he should be. Like, I'm giving everybody props. So this one coming from no hating type of vibe.
Right.
What I was saying was, and it's really just barbershop talk, really.
Right.
I thought that once they got that low into the list, I'm like, damn, where I'm at, number 50 or something? That's how I'm thinking in my mind.
Yeah.
And so then Braun came up. And I'm like, hold on, bro, that man got 40,000 points. Then look, about 2 weeks ago, he go on the air. He been shooting at Memphis for a long time.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Let's bring the whole elephant out.
Call it what it is.
He been shooting at Memphis the whole time.
Right.
As far as players that come in town, you ain't really trying to kick it in Memphis. Cool, you might want to go get something to eat, but you got to get your sleep and get ready for the grindhouse. You feel me? That's how it was back in the day.
Oh yeah.
It just ain't that. So now you gonna kill our city on the golf course. Hold on. Not only that, you gonna come at my brother and say his award should have been yours. No, I got to say something now, because the list right here in front of my face is on point now, because I could have said something when I saw his podcast. So I took it in the run. I said, hold on. Let's be clear. We both on the same amount of teams. Every team he made, I made.
Yeah.
So you ain't talking to no local joker now.
Right.
So
Right.
I just felt like, all right, with my job every day, what I got to do, man, to come to this court, man, if I don't come here and make it difficult for the opponent score, they going to be looking at TA like, what's your value?
Now, I do want to continue with that discussion because it becomes a little more complicated when you're talking about a player who's elite on the defensive end while also carrying such a massive offensive responsibility. Naturally, a player in that position isn't always going to have the same number of one-on-one defensive highlights. For one, coaches want to protect those players. You don't want them constantly taking the toughest defensive assignments and risking unnecessary foul trouble. You also have to see how the officials are calling the game, because 2 quick fouls on your best player can completely change the direction of a matchup. At that point in his career, LeBron was handling a huge share of the ball handling duties and was the engine behind almost everything the 2013 Miami Heat did offensively. He was central to everything they wanted to accomplish, so there was always a balance between maximizing his impact on both ends of the floor and making sure he stayed on the court. That said, I still remember key moments where LeBron took on the challenge defensively. There were times during that series when he switched on to Derrick Rose in crucial situations, including a memorable play where he met him at the rim for a block. Those are the kinds of defensive moments that stand out. But it also raises a fair question. How much defensive responsibility can a player realistically take on every single night while also carrying such a heavy workload on offense?
Right.
So my value in that era of basketball was at the point was don't let them get their average, TA. That's going to help our ball club.
Hello.
And so if I got to do that night in, night out at limited minutes, he on the court for damn near 46 minutes.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me if you got to play defense every minute you on the second to a guy that gonna play it occasionally?
Well,
No,
TA,
I do it better, brother.
Well, TA, we not negating the fact that you do it better. We think you do it better. But the thing is, LeBron he has so many damn jobs on the court. Okay, he got to score the ball. Smooth, I got to assist the ball. Damn, I got to rebound the ball. Hell, I'm leading the team in steals. Hell, on top of all that, I got to defend the number one guy the entire game. That's not possible. He can't exert all that energy and 10 of these other jobs.
But guess what? I'm stepping it. But guess what? I gotta do that. And if I don't do that, hey, I'm gonna be playing for the Iowa Bulldogs in the G League.
Hey, and that's understood because it's like shit. Damn, TA ain't toting all them damn jobs. But if TA lock in defensively, and that's all you doing all night. Oh yeah, you gonna be better than him in that. There's no question. You saying he was higher than you on the list?
Higher than me on the list. And I said I couldn't believe it because I'm like, damn, hold on. Man, LeBron just greedy. He won all the awards, man. Damn. He's somebody down, bro.
TA, when he done, TA, he gonna have them all. He gonna have them all,
like
TA.
that, bro.
Hey,
and one thing I can say, because I locked up with LeBron too. Like that time he left Cleveland, that was my assignment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, imagine, I'm not comparing myself to him. He averaged 28, 7, and 7. Let's be clear.
Hello.
But what I'm saying, what I did was few deflections here and there in key moments, few steals there in key moments, couple contested shots where I know he stressed out by my contest. That's my defense, bro. And not only that, and no disrespect to any guy that didn't average over a dub when I was playing. But if you didn't average a dub, 9 times out of 10, I wasn't sticking.
I don't even need to pull up any stats when it comes to Tony Allen because I've been watching him ever since his days at Oklahoma State. To me, he's always been an elite defender. I genuinely enjoyed watching the way he played on that side of the floor. His anticipation was outstanding, his athleticism stood out, and he had a real instinct for disrupting offenses. I still remember Oklahoma State knocking off North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. Offensively, his jump shot wasn't his biggest strength, but defensively, he could absolutely change a game. Then you look at what he accomplished early in Boston before becoming such a key piece of those Memphis teams. He was one of the biggest reasons the grit and grind era became what it was. Year after year, he earned all defensive first team recognition, and from his perspective, it's understandable why he doesn't believe LeBron should have been ranked ahead of him as a defender. The thing about these rankings is that they ultimately come down to opinions. The people voting on them are using their own eye test, just like fans and analysts do. That's why I never put too much weight into lists by themselves. The better question is always this: if your team has a specific need, who are you choosing to fill that role? Now, I'm not saying you would choose Tony Allen over LeBron James as an overall player. Almost everyone would take LeBron. But if you've already got superstars like LeBron, Kobe Bryant, or other elite scorers on your roster, and the one thing your team still needs is a lockdown perimeter defender, then someone like Tony Allen becomes incredibly valuable. The answer depends entirely on how the rest of your roster is built. One thing is certain, Tony Allen's defense would have stood out on any team he played for. That's simply who he was. When you're talking about players like LeBron or Michael Jordan, though, the conversation becomes different. You'll hear people, including Rich Paul, argue that Scottie Pippen was the more impactful defender. There's certainly a case for that. But those discussions also have to consider offensive responsibilities. Some players are expected to score 45 or even 60 points on a given night. That's not taking anything away from Scottie Pippen, because he was one of the rare players capable of putting up 35, 40, or even 50 points when everything was clicking. But he wasn't asked to score at the same volume as Jordan every single night. He wasn't averaging 37 or 35 points across a season. Because of that, players like Jordan and LeBron have to manage their energy over the course of an 82-game schedule, especially when they're expected to make deep playoff runs year after year. When you're the franchise player, preserving yourself is part of the job. The Bulls were constantly competing for championships, and LeBron spent years making finals appearances. That kind of workload requires balance. At the same time, LeBron still had the versatility to switch on to different matchups whenever it mattered. Think about the help side block he had on Tim Duncan in the paint, or the times bigger forwards tried to overpower him. I even remember Zion Williamson attempting to back LeBron down under the basket and simply being unable to move him. Those moments highlight just how versatile he was defensively. When you really think about LeBron's physical tools, it's remarkable. He's built like a forward, has the strength of someone like Karl Malone, can run the floor like a freight train, and still possesses elite court vision and passing ability. A lot of people reduce his defense to the famous chase down blocks, but that doesn't tell the whole story. At his peak, LeBron was an outstanding defender. His instincts in the passing lanes, his ability to guard multiple positions, and the impact he made on that side of the floor all deserve recognition. He truly was an all-around player. So if someone ranks LeBron among the greatest defenders ever, part of that evaluation comes from balancing everything he was responsible for. Sure, a specialist like Tony Allen may have guarded the toughest assignment every possession, but LeBron also had to carry an enormous offensive load while still making a major impact defensively. That isn't a criticism of Tony Allen at all. Like I've said, he's one of the greatest defensive players I've ever watched, and I respect his opinion more than most because I believe his frustration comes from a genuine place. But that's just how I see it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I believe superstar players will always appear to do a little less defensively than specialists because they're carrying so much responsibility on offense, and that's simply part of the trade-off. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.